You might not have noticed, but the TIE fighters in Rogue One are not the classic original trilogy design. They are in fact a never-before-seen variety, and the differences aren't particularly hard to spot either. Here I have some supremely accurate 3D reconstructions of both the Rogue One TIE fighter and the original trilogy TIE fighter, and when we overlay these two fighters, we can see that there are a number of changes, to the point where almost no component is exactly identical between the two. And many of these changes can be understood to represent in-universe upgrades in technology in the TIE fighter line. The biggest difference in these TIEs is the cockpit window, which is significantly smaller on the Rogue One TIE. Furthermore, a number of elements on the Rogue One model are more slender and less robust. Compare the longer, more delicate wings of the Rogue One TIE to the bulky and brutal wings of the classic TIE. The classic TIE also has much larger laser cannons and a more heavily armored underside. From this angle, we can also see that the thrusters on the classic TIE have been bulked up somewhat. From the side, we can see the true extent of the changes to the wing. The Rogue One wing is about 15% larger. So what do all these changes mean? If both the classic TIE and the Rogue One TIE are equally canonical, I'd say that we are truly looking at a suitably different version of TIE here. But when I say different, I don't mean different like a TIE fighter and a TIE interceptor. I mean like the difference between a P-51D and a P-51H. In real life, and especially during wartime, the designs of fighters don't remain static throughout their production history. I just mentioned the P-51, which actually went through a number of changes over the course of World War II, to the point where the first production model of the P-51 only somewhat resembled the final model, but they're all P-51s. So an inconsistent TIE isn't necessarily a problem. In fact, it adds realistic texture to the world. And if we want to enter into some fan theory territory, the Rogue One TIEs merely represent an earlier production model of the TIE fighter, obviously dating back to as early as 13 years before the Battle of Yavin, where we see this model of TIE in production on Corellia. We can call these the TIE LNB to leave room for potentially more primitive versions of the fighter. And what we understand as the iconic classic TIE, let's call that the TIE LND. This fighter was probably rolled out shortly before the Battle of Yavin and introduced changes such as better cockpit visibility, stronger wings, larger laser cannons, and more robust thrusters. So TIEs stationed above Scarif were still largely the older TIE LNB model, but fighters stationed aboard the Death Star were the new cutting-edge TIE LND models. But where is the C? Well, I thought that I would leave out C to possibly accommodate for the TIE fighters that we see in the Rebels TV show, whose differences are somewhat hard to explain as merely artistic license. It's possible that the Imperial Navy was experimenting with more radical changes, such as more heavily armored wing pylons, before they decided to revert to a slightly more conservative model, balancing the best ideas of both the B and the C. The more narrow profile and lighter pylon armor of the B make the TIE lighter and more maneuverable, and the larger window and laser cannons of the C afford more visibility and firepower. Of course, it's possible that the Rebels TIE doesn't really exist at all, and it's merely a gross corruption of either the Rogue One TIE or the classic TIE, but it is fun to speculate nonetheless. At any rate, the production history of the TIE fighter isn't as simple as we might think, and it parallels the real world in some really interesting ways, giving a realistic texture to Star Wars that would otherwise be easily overlooked. I hope you guys liked this deep dive into minute design discrepancies. Let me know if you want to see more. Finally, I would like to give a shout out to Magnus and Alain Rivard for their incredible TIE fighter models, and I'd like to thank Angelos Carterinis for making some awesome renders of these beautiful fighters. And with that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.